Hi, Miss Lorimer. My favorite thing about you is that all the wisdom you taught my class and how you prepared us for 6th grade. What I love about this year's class is everybody is very friendly and everybody is really funny.
Hi, Miss Lorimer. My favorite thing about you is that you're really funny, I guess, and I also like how you teach in math. And I also want to say I like your class and like how it's set up.
Hi, my favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is that she can help you get through anything in life. Like if you're going through trouble like at home or at school or something like that, you can always trust her.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is that she is really good at explaining all of her teaching, so I always know what she's trying to teach. I love our class because we get to do a lot of really fun activities.
Hi, Miss Lorimer. My favorite thing about you is that you're really funny and you make a lot of jokes. And I like her class because they never make things boring. Everyone always says something and then everyone starts laughing.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that she has a good sense of humor. I love our class because it's really funny and everyone jokes around.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is how nice she is to everybody. I love being in her class because she makes learning fun and she's able to really give the students all that they need.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is how she always makes the lessons interactive and we always have fun. And I love the class because she always talks about her life and not just teaches us.
Hello, Miss Lorimer. To be frank with you, this was probably my favorite year in Dulcer yet. I have experienced so many wonderful things. Probably my favorite is how you push us always to try our best, to always be our best possible. And I really like that about you because we can finally get ready for what's coming in life. And then I also love our class because it's such a diverse amount of, cultural feelings and cultural people. And as America's nickname is, the mush pot or the salad, that's pretty much our class, all of them mushed together. Most are funny, some are smart, some are athletic. They're all very fun.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is how she always helps us do our best and always pushes us to reach for the start. I love our class because we are very nice to each other and we are very supportive.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is how she's super kind and helps everyone with their homework, even if you get it wrong and nobody judges. I love the class because nobody judges or anything, and we are super funny and kind.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer, she's such a kind-hearted person and she always makes me feel better when I'm feeling down. The thing I love about our class is we have the greatest people and they're so kind and they always are so helpful to you.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is that she's caring and she always gives us second chances. I love our class because they're always caring for each other and they make each other laugh. We all laugh together.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is that she's always kind. When I don't understand a problem on math, she always helps me out and I really enjoy how she helps me. I love our class because it's built the flag with white dots on when you enter the blue paper with the dots and stuff like that. I really like it because it reminds me of my colonial person, Betsy Ross.
One thing I love about Miss Lorimer is she's very supportive and she always helps us through tough things and gets us prepared for middle school. She's very caring and kind. The great thing about our class is that we support each other and we all laugh together.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is that she's super kind-hearted and when you're feeling down she'll pick you back up. I love our class because
There are a lot of nice people, and our class is full of books, which we can read. The favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is she's always kind and she helps us when we don't understand things. I love our class because our class always makes jokes and they're always funny.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that she's very fun and teaches lessons like no other teacher has. I love our class because of Miss Lorimer.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is that she builds people up off of our mistakes, that she corrects us for our mistakes. I love our class because we have such amazing friends. I have such amazing friends in this class, and a lot of Padres fans.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that she laughs when you do something funny or something like that. And then what I love about our class is that they're always like funny and they always make jokes that cheer us up.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that whenever we have trouble or struggle with our work, she always helps us and is very kind. I love our class because she is always teaching us and she makes our classroom look really nice.
Favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that she makes learning easier for me and she prepares me for 6th grade, and I wouldn't know what to be doing in middle school without her. What I love about this year's class is that a lot of my friends are in it, and it's just been a great experience overall.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is that she helps us get a good understanding of what we have to do. And in math class, she helps us a lot by breaking it down more so we understand. I love her class because it's always like we blurt out a lot and it's funny when people make some comments or jokes.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is she teaches social studies and math very well. She's a very funny teacher and just very nice, caring. Yeah, I love her class because we have very comfy spots to sit at when we don't want to sit at our desks.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that she teaches math really well and she makes everything really fun. And I love our class because they can get really funny sometimes and make us laugh.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Lorimer is that whenever she has rules, it's always fair. She always has a reason for the rules. I love her class because Miss Lorimer's teaching it and she's always kind and considerate, helping us whenever we don't know anything.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that she is super nice. I love our class because everyone is super kind and funny and nice.
Hi, Miss Lorimer. I love about being in your class, your humor, and also your lots teaching experience. Thank you for teaching us. We feel so good that you've been teaching us for so much time, and how much we appreciate you for it. The things that I love about this class is that the ways you teach us in this class is very nice and a very nice way of how you show us and take things into example for us to make it imagine for us to do it better. Yeah.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that she always supports us and she's really kind. I love our class because all of my classmates always support me and they're really nice friends to me.
My favorite thing about Miss Lorimer is that she always helps us learn new things. I love her class because everyone is always so kind and funny.
Now for the Gauchos, for the future, I have a special treat. Good morning, future Gauchos. This is Luca Montler speaking from the 2022 year through 2023. My advice to you is always to try as hard as you can, try to get good grades, and try to always push for your best, because Miss Lorimer is gonna love you for that.
Advice for next year's Gauchos is make sure you stay on task, stay organized, and Make sure to finish as much work in class as you can because it will really benefit you to not have that much homework.
My advice to future gauchos is that as long as you don't get in trouble, everything will be fun.
My advice to future gauchos is don't mess around in class because you'll get slate marks.
What I want to say to the future gauchos to hear is, I hope you're doing very well and seeing how kind Miss Lorimer is. And I hope she's also doing well too. And just have a nice day with her. Also appreciate how good it is for her to feel around you. She is very grateful for you, to have you guys.
My advice to future gauchos is to listen to Miss Lorimer and not mess around. My advice to future gauchos is go to the bathroom at recess or lunch. Otherwise, you'll get a slate mark for going in the middle of class.
Always complete your homework on time and try your hardest.
And then my advice for future gauchos is always do your homework because she doesn't like it when you do.
My advice to future gauchos is do not talk while Miss Lorimer is talking, otherwise you'll get assignment.
Advice to future gauchos is that you'll do a lot of fun stuff with Miss Lorimer, and I really hope that you get her. She's a really nice teacher.
My advice for next year's gaucho is to complete your homework, to always listen to the teacher and listen to the class rules so they don't get a slate mark, and enjoy 5th grade.
My advice for future gauchos is to always listen to the teacher and try not to get in trouble.
My advice to future gauchos is always try your best and always reach for the stars. You will do great in life.
My advice to the future gauchos are that always listen to Miss Lorimer and be kind.
My advice to future gauchos is go to the bathroom at recess because you won't be able to go.
My advice to the future gauchos is that Miss Lorimer makes math very fun, and don't be rude because she's very strict about that.
Some advice for future gauchos is to be prepared.
My advice to future gauchos is to just don't be a bad kid.
My advice for future gauchos is to do your homework.
My advice to the future gauchos is always listen to the teacher and pay attention.
My advice to future gauchos is to do what she asks right when she asks it.
My advice to future gauchos is that not to get on Miss Lorimer's nerve because you get really mad sometimes because people are talking. So I think we shouldn't, my advice is people really shouldn't talk when she's teaching.
My advice for future gauchos is to not mess around that much or else she'll get
My
mad.
advice for future gauchos is get to know Mrs. Lorimer because she's a really cool person, and I think you'll agree with me.
I'm bound to thank you for it.
Thank you, Mrs. Laura, for being the best teacher ever. 5th grade was amazing with you. Thank you, Miss Laura, for being my teacher.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Laura.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer. Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer. Thank you, Miss Lorimer.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Mrs. Lorimer. You're a great teacher.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lorimer.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer, for the best year ever, and you're my favorite teacher.
Thank you, Miss Lorimer, for being such a great teacher during 5th grade.
Thank you to Miss Lorimer. I will really miss you. Thank you for preparing us for middle school.
La, la, la.